Welcome back, everyone, to the Bricked Up Blitz podcast. It's been quite the hiatus. Part of that's my fault. Most of that's Wayne's fault. But we're happy to host again. You have in the booth me, Lemnos, Wayne, and two guests today. We have CJ and Smith. Welcome.
Woo! Hey guys, how you guys feeling being on this episode? Well, sorry, CJ, this is your second time on here, and this is a long-awaited guest, fan favorite Smith. How you guys feeling?
Glad to be here.
Good, good. A little weird. Didn't expect to be back so soon, but yeah, glad to be back.
Wait, hold on.
Talking to
Is
town.
it soon?
Talking
It's been a
town.
while.
It's been a while, and also you earned your place here because you beat a certain team, and that
It,
I promise that you'll be back on.
that's right. It has been a while, but I don't think they're. I think the only guest. I could be wrong, but I think the only guest in between this podcast and my last one was Dan.
Correct.
Hmm.
Correct.
Okay.
He's correct.
Oh yeah, that's
So
right.
it's been a while, but it hasn't been a while.
Well, we just love to
Yeah.
have you on. So, and like I
Yeah,
said,
it's
you
true.
earn your place. So, yeah. So it's unfortunate, but like yes, we did take a little break. We are surprisingly halfway through the season. So just wanted to get your thoughts, both of you. One from I guess a GM perspective, and also Smith as a vet. How are you guys feeling with both of your teams so far this into the season?
I'll take this one first, actually, because CJ's got a better story and record. But yeah, I mean, we're led by BPTO. He's always got a lot to say, but it's been a lot of fun. Um, it's definitely let us do what we want to do as players. Um, Trying to get make sure we all get playing time uh, by sitting himself or whatever you want to call it, even though that was predetermined preseason our lineups for the first 3 weeks. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been a uphill battle, I'd say, but I didn't do my part against Dangerous to get us in the end zone and get that victory. So I will take some blame on that. And 2-1 would be a lot better than 1-2.
For sure. I mean, you guys definitely have like a fun team. A lot of people recognize the trolliness of Kite, but Kite is a fun guy to play with, especially when he's not impersonating Tony. Um, but I mean, your team just like exudes fun. You got Kite, you got Finn, and you got like Romo, he's just so sneakily like funny all the time too.
Yeah,
But he's
bought
competitive at the
into
same
it.
time. Yeah.
Bought into the crybaby
Um,
lifestyle scheme.
for sure. So like your team is definitely like fun vibes all around. And then the other cool thing about it is like you guys can all play like every position, so you should theoretically be able to like, like you said, have a lot of different lineups. So that's really cool.
Yeah, Finn. I mean, Finn's you know amazing player, super fun person as well. And Romo, yeah, he's been big dick sneaking on everybody, making sure we get the W.
For sure. And I don't know what he's doing with all those deer dicks, but he's doing something with them.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? How do you think the best preparation of deer dick would be?
So I don't
Like
think
a
you're supposed to eat.
braised?
Oh
You're not
no.
supposed to eat them. You're supposed to use them like you like Roma says you're supposed to like nail them to trees or
That's
something.
why your fertility is lacking. You have,
Oh, true.
if
Yeah.
you
I
were
guess
if you consumed more deer penis, you wouldn't even be able
Dude,
to produce
Romo is a
it.
fucking psychopath, nailing deer dicks to trees. That could be,
no.
yo, he in a video game. Imagine playing a deer in a video game, and Romo is the villain.
Oh, it'd be terrifying.
And you have like it's dark around you, and you just see what's lit up by
You
the
just see
flashlight
fucking
in
deer
front of you,
dicks
and you just
fucking
get deer
pegged to
dick.
trees around you.
I mean, he's doing
Uh,
something right for his fertility. I mean, we got him, we got Young, and we got Cuddy as like the most prolific breeders in the community. So props to them. um, uh, Smith, do you want to add anything before we go over to CJ?
Nope.
All right, CJ, your team. How's it been? How's everything been going?
It's been going well. Yeah, we have a great team, and you know, um, we we're we're fucking here for it. So we I'm just really like, yeah. I think I'm just really happy with the team, how everyone's played, how everyone's made concessions for each other and come together, and we're just a good team.
Yeah, you guys are obviously playing well. I mean, you did like, you expect yourselves to be like good and be able to be capable of winning every game. Did you see yourself? Do you guys see yourselves being 3-0 to start the season?
I don't know if I personally saw myself being 3-0. I might have. I mean, yeah, I mean, I might have seen us. I mean, I might have seen us going 7-0 rather than like 3-0 or something, but not. That's not really something that I'm thinking about. We're taking it game by game every week, so not really. No, it's not something that I think we going 7-0 or 3-0 is actually not something I think any of us ever predicted. At least I didn't.
Yeah, no, I got you. It sounds like you guys have just like a game by game mentality, which is really the right mentality for most competitive games like this. I mean, like the memes from the Patriots, like, we're on to next week, we're on to Cincinnati or whatever. It's really the right mentality. You can only do so much within a week, and you can't look too far forward. But I mean, it looks pretty positive for you guys to obviously be in the not be the bottom team, missing the playoffs. You guys are number one right now, so major props to you. Overall, I think what you guys have right now in your team is like um, a good complement of players. So you have like that's the up and coming QB doing really well. Um, you have Dan, who's super supportive and helpful and like a defensive guru. You have someone that in Portis that can just like lock down and do everything that's necessary with like hardly any communication, which is always impressive for Portis. And then you have Tony that can fill in like in any spot and be extremely productive. So I think that's like a really good environment for you to thrive. If you had like a different person, it might not be as cohesive. Would you agree with that assessment overall?
100%. Everyone on this team is a fucking underdog, and uh, I don't think I could have drafted a better team.
I have to ask CJ, do you feel like it's more of your GM slash leadership that's holding this team together, or do you think it's the players that you drafted as part of your team that really makes the the team synergy at a high level?
Oh, it's definitely both. It's both for sure.
Good, good. That's great to hear. You guys are the top team in the league so far, 3-0. And I want to ask you both this, but starting with you, CJ, how do you think you guys will need to like? How do you think what do you need to do for the second half of the season to sustain yourself to being the top team this season? And then when we switch over to you, Smith, what can you guys to improve since you guys are 1-2, just like our team? But yeah, go ahead, CJ.
For myself, I'm gonna uh Young recently asked me when we were playing the tournament the other night how I became a better quarterback than him so quickly. And I I mean, I think the answer I gave him is the same answer to your question, which is switching to this entire season from when I started drafting my team and became captain of the underdogs. Like I not only do I have a goal for our team and myself, but and all of us, like I have had a growth mindset. So keeping that and not living in the past, not living in a celebration or like a place of pride out of our own accomplishments, but rather continuing to move forward and accept that there's going to continue to be growth and struggle uh, is what we're going to have to do.
So to kind of expound on that, you are taking the growth mindset into account, and I think part of that is like recognizing how to be a QB in this meta where we have, fast reactions, we have boost and fumbles, we have double moves, we have unique called defenses, and then it's like all those things, and you've been trying. What it sounds like is to get better at things that are applicable to the new meta, whereas Young in and I'm paraphrasing here, is trying to like do what was successful for him in the past, but with like less consistent reps under his belt because he doesn't play as often anymore. So not only is his playbook in the past, but his skills aren't keeping up because he's not playing enough.
Yeah, that's kind of it. It's also more like rather than relying on an image of success of the past or associating other teams and other players with an image of how they play, you're just stereotyping everybody, and you're not actually dealing with. And I think just doing that, it's not doing you any favors. So yeah, I mean, when we play any team, we're going to definitely be looking at the tendencies of players, uh, but we're not underestimating anyone, and we like that everyone underestimates us.
Hell yeah! I mean, you guys are the underdogs, but I guess, like I said in some random stupid chat, you might be appropriate to call you guys the overdogs, which is the worst
I think it'd be
name
top
ever.
dogs, top
Top
dogs,
dogs.
but
Is that not?
not
Top.
until not there yet though.
All right,
When
right.
they're
So you
7 and
guys can
0,
be
when
the
they're
mid
7 and
dogs.
0, they can be rebranded as top dogs.
Yes. All right. So you might have to repeat the question for
Yeah.
Smith because I
So
just went off the rails.
yeah, Smith. So switching back to you, Smith. Um, Three of the four of us here stand at 1 and 2. So what do you think, Smith? Will your team need to do for you guys to uh, improve for the second half of the season? Because hey, it's anyone's can be the bottom team and miss out on the playoffs. So what do you need to do to improve on your season?
Um, I want to try to see if we can solidify a lineup by week 4 or 5, um, and then build on that. Uh, I think we have a chance to win every game, honestly, regardless of who's at quarterback. But we have a better chance with Roma or myself. But Kite's played well all season at all positions, in my opinion. I just haven't been able to get it done in crunch time in certain games.
Would you say it's more offensively that you guys need to get better at, or defensively?
Offensively, our defense is serviceable. It's not nothing special right now, um, but I think we do enough to win if we can score on at least 75% of our possessions. And looking back, you know, could be touchdowns or field goals. Came up short. I wasn't able to get points inside the red zone last week. I think I left like 9 or 12 up there on field goals. And Romo did the opposite. Romo was kicking field goals and put us in a position to win, and then we did. We pulled it out, and then in Kite's game, just a few unfortunate throws and no blocks by us. We let up some jump ball interceptions pretty early in our drives, so we fell behind in the second half because of that. But I think moving forward, we'll be good to go.
Yeah, I think you guys have like I said earlier in the podcast, you guys have a really good team. But more importantly to what you said, I think it is important to have a lineup that features most of the same people in similar positions. So I think you should solidify someone at the QB, and then maybe solidify someone else, and then if you guys decide to sub anyone out, they can be subbed out at whatever wide receiver or running back. Just from coming from personal experience, in season 1 when I was captain of the Lemnos Lemons, I had a different lineup for every single game, and we had one win. It was super tough to figure out a game plan, what works with certain players, defenses. Never had chemistry. So it was super tough. So I definitely recommend trying, if you can voice this to Kite, to solidify a lineup as best as you guys can. 'Cause that'll help bolster your guys' game plans and game management.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
think we'll be able to get in there. I think if I had another crack at it, I'd still probably wouldn't kick the field goals, but with a few more reps under my belt, I think that's the second time I QB'd in a few months. Not that that's really an excuse, but
no, I got you.
I
So
think that field goals are. I know you don't like kicking them, and in the past they were, there was kind of like you kind of looked down on anyone who would kick a field goal in a game, right? It was almost like a cutback or something. But I feel like they're way more uh, just accepted now, part of the game, especially in a meta where we have so many defenses, and I don't think the offense has quite caught up yet to the like wealth of different defenses that could be called anytime.
yeah, I agree with that. I think like sometimes you just got to take the points in today's meta. I think with the current batch of QBs as well. I mean, most of the starting QBs aren't quite like the tier 1s and tier 2s that we had from season 1 and season 2, so that might also be limiting some amount of offensive production. So in a season like we have right now, definitely super valuable to take those kickoffs or those field goals when you can take them.
yeah.
But for these field goals, we had another scenario last night with our game against the Krusty Krabs.
That's right.
Krusty could have theoretically taken
Could have gone
2
to
field
OT.
goals, could have gone to OT, could have won if they took the first field goal. I mean, we did have like 2 minutes left to drive still, but they would have had a higher chance to win had they kicked field goals. So if you're listening to this out there, take your field goals, everyone. Start practicing.
Our team has no regrets. We stand on field goals. I mean, sorry, we stand on our fourth down decisions. I speak for the Krusty Krabs.
Whose call was it to go for it on fourth?
What do you think?
I stand by the Krusty. I speak for the Krusty Krabs.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I feel like I can nail every fourth down.
Nah,
I know
I,
that it's
I
just
I do think that we could have executed on at least that very last one. The other two were just misplayed it, and it happens. But we live and we learn. Yeah, we no regrets on that one. I do think that if we had succeeded, definitely would have put a lot more pressure on the heavy hitters. But credit to them, they executed when they needed to, and got the touchdowns when they needed to, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. But speak on that then. So I think our team needs to specifically focus on improving on our scrambling, right? Like, would you say that, or you could be with yourself or your team? Like, what do you think specifically you think your team needs to work on for the remainder of the season?
Myself? Yeah. Um, man, we just need to
I'll go
score.
first for this one. I'm in for myself. I think I've dropped back too far too many times. I think I know it wasn't in a league match, but curious if anyone does stats for the showdown slash scrimmage, whatever the showdown match between us and TTT. I'm curious about how many sack yards for lost ducks are had because there was one he sacked me and the plan was if nothing was open to punt it. Like if I couldn't throw it anywhere, then I'd just punt it. I thought the hotkey was V, but it's not. I've heard since then that it might be Z. Uh, but um, but anyway, he sacked me. I think he sacked me for like a lot. So that's something. And just yeah, that's something, and just making better decisions, having better QB vision, uh, making quicker decisions, reading the defense better. There's a lot.
That's fair. It's a good list. I think like I think every person, I mean, and obviously every QB too, like has one major mechanic that they probably need to work on. So you mentioned like rolling back and stuff like that. I think that's pretty big because if you roll back too far, one, if you get sacked, that's like crazy. It's hard to bounce back from. Then the other thing is you can actually ruin a lot of timing on some short to medium throws. Um, so you need to like throw it way earlier. The defender might see it more easily with you rolling back. So that's definitely a really good one to try and improve.
I wasn't gonna say this because I didn't want to give anything away, but since I am trying to change this anyway, my habit usually with rolling back is if I suspect something deep is about to open up. So, uh, or I could just be, you know, totally just blundering. But a lot of times, I think if something's about to open up, I'm just like, oh, this is about to open up. I'm just gonna roll back to give myself some time. But I'm not always right about it, and yeah, it's definitely something I got to get better at.
Yeah, it's definitely super tough. Super. I gotta have a game break here. Wayne, Tony is asking if you've started the stats for the heavy hitters Krusty Krabs game.
No, I have not.
Okay, thank you, Wayne. All right, question back to you, Smith. The same thing. What do you think you need to improve upon?
Definitely defensive side of the ball. I'm getting quicker and I'm using the mini map less. I am pressing one a lot, holding one a lot though. But it's part of my defensive style that I've been working on.
Yes.
Just need to close the gap, play a little closer, and trust my counterpart a little bit more. I think I tend to try to play a little bit too much of the field, cover too much of the field, even time, especially times when I don't need to. That's the problem.
Yeah, that when you're covering too much of the field, you might leave those shorts open and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think we've probably seen some odd movements with some of your coverages and tackles. Is that like I think most of us want to understand what's happening there. Is it when you get off of pressing one and you have to like transition back to clicking on the normal screen? Or is it, like what's going on in those situations normally?
Yeah, sometimes it's just when my movements when holding one are like more, they're not direct paths, I guess. So then when I'm caught in a position of trying to cover tight and then stretching the play over top, sometimes I get caught flat-footed, I guess, being slow on that first jump
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it
and
kind of makes sense.
kind of straightening it out. So that's I'd never had that problem before because I was always relying. I always used the mini map, so my first click was always usually perfect, like the right
Yeah.
one. But now I'm trying to combine those tactics of holding one and still using the mini map,
Yeah, it's
and
definitely.
using the right on because I use the mini map, but then you run into that problem where you're not watching what's happening, right in front of you.
It's so interesting that we all have like different strategies. Like some people run their routes on the mini map. Some people use mini maps for a couple clicks and then they go back to the screen. Now we have this one strategy. It'd be cool if you can hone it and then perfect it and then see how
Yeah,
like your play compares to like other people's play that play differently.
it's getting better and situational too.
For sure.
I find if I use the one to stay centered, but also use the mini map, I can usually have really good positioning on a lot of the throws. I just have to get back to the on screen quicker.
Yeah. I can
Speaking
definitely see it being like helpful for icons and stuff too.
Yeah,
Speaking of the different styles of play, I just wanted to give a shout out to Intox because last season he made me laugh when he told me that he would try to use the mini map to play defense, but like he didn't like the distractions of looking at the players moving around and stuff. So he'll go to the top, like anywhere on the map that was black, like a black screen.
sit there.
He'll sit there and look at a black screen while playing mini map defense, and I thought that was hilarious.
Oh, that's wild.
Another thing that people play differently, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Um, well, it's kind of hard to ask because I don't think many like you specifically, CJ and Spencer aren't really like blitzers full time. But like, there's like some people's strategy where they like to blitz before the QB blitz. Sorry, they like to use the boost before the QB uses the boost. Because they feel like there's a, if they use a boost before the QB, then they would have two boosts before the other team uses it, right? But in my opinion, I think saving that boost is better. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think about that.
I can't really say until I play an entire league blitzing as wide receiver. Yeah,
Uh,
I
that's
think there's so much to blitzing that it's like I'm just touching the surface with a few pub games here and there. So I don't know.
okay. I think I think that it's always going to be a waste to use that to boost before because the QB can just get a certain positioning because of the wall, and then they'll automatically have a better angle than you, especially if it's like a one directional roll. There's basically no chance for the blitzer to catch up. I think it's always going to be a stupid thing. The only time I might advocate for it is if it's like the cutty sneak and you're trying to cause a fumble or get to the line just like a millisecond quicker. Um, that's my expert opinion.
Yeah, I'm probably wrong. Lemnos is a better blitzer than I am, but I've done boosts at the line when I feel like it's advantageous to try to close the gap there, knowing that they'll maybe probably should be looking for the throw by the time I get my next boost, which I can hold or I could use if it's I'm in a position to make a move with it.
I would,
I
I'll,
can see that.
I would also add that maybe it is truly situational, like a 80, like the theory of saving it is probably 80-20, but like situationally, like if I'm confident that I could dive at the QB, I'll use my boost to help me, right? But if I miss, but it's a dive. And same with what you said, Lem, about like the cutty sneak. Like you're gonna predict that they're gonna try to run straight at you, so might as well. go heads on with him, right?
Yeah, that's how I got you to fumble on the 1 yard line.
Bastard. I remember that.
Yeah, I think that's it's not at the forefront of everyone's mind, but I definitely think that the saving your blitz is always the way to go. I also think it's also the way to go on offense. I noticed a lot of people boosting right off of the line as wide receiver.
Yeah, I was
And
just thinking about that.
do you guys ever see a benefit to that? Because I think that any receiver, running back or wide receiver, should save it for a cut or trying to catch the ball.
Yeah.
I think it depends. I think that there's some benefit. There can be some benefit to it. Um, I don't know if it's just. I'm not going to go as far to say as it's just better than like not boosting or something. But I think when you do boost off of the line, when you do want to boost again, it's not like it's not going to be back up in time unless it's like a charge play or something. So you're not really wasting it. And
I think
um,
I've noticed it being wasted for like if someone tries to run a slant or a 90, but they boost off the line, it can not be
yeah,
back in time for those.
yeah. So maybe I wouldn't always boost off the line for like a short play like that unless I felt like the coverage wasn't going to jump short, in which case I could do it then. But if they are playing tight to the sideline and they're playing up, I mean, there's really no benefit to boosting at all then.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, it depends. I also have heard people say it's distracting to watch when playing defense to watch the boost happen right on the hike. So I don't know. That's kind of
Oh,
maybe that might be gimmicky, but it could be psychological. I don't know.
I mean, half of Blitz is a psychology game anyway, so it could be useful. Anything to tip the scales.
I will say that in season one, there was a certain play that was called to use their boost to disguise a decoy in the red zone. I
Oh,
will say that that was
interesting.
used. I don't know about like like when we have more field to work with, but in the red zone, I definitely think there's ways to use it as a deception tactic. But going back to the original question, I I don't truly don't mind it on the route running, especially like if you're like going deep and you're open, then yes, you need to manage your boosts to ensure a PP or like ensure you're there. But my only rule of thumb I think is I think receivers should always save their boost for the catching part of saving it for the catch. As long as you have a boost for the catch, I think that's the most important thing
For the catch or after the
for
catch?
the catch, for the catch or after the catch. Because like after the catch would be like if you're trying to create separation after the catch because you know that the defender's not there. But if it's going to be like a close catch, like a jump ball, I think that saving it is better.
Or if they're like right on you and you have the boost to be able to get a yard out in front to catch
Yeah,
the ball.
yeah. So
Yeah, I
maybe
agree.
yeah. Because I see a lot more receivers actually, like or like maybe half the league kind of using their boost during the route running and not at the end of the and not at the catching part of the play.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Um, Smith, what do you think about this boostology?
Yeah, I don't really use it early unless I'm trying to get deep in time for the jump ball or something. Um, I think it is definitely more beneficial to have a boost for the catch part of the play than any other time.
Yeah, it's so
But if
valuable.
you don't need it, yeah, then you have it for the cat for the yak, which is it's wonderful too.
Yes,
But
sir.
yeah, I'm into saving boosts.
So, but sometimes, so I'm thinking about it. What would you think of? because I think you don't like, for example, if a wide receiver is running a 90, you would not like to see them boost on the cut.
No, I'm okay
That's,
with that.
I think in general I'm against it unless they see that that the person's not, like, if it's a 90 up and the person that would be covering them is more in the middle of the field, if they can boost to create the separation, that's okay. But if they're just doing a 90 up and someone has already drifted towards the sideline, I think that's stupid to use the boost on the cut.
Right, because you're not getting anywhere good quicker.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So like if it's situational, then like sure. But if it's, just you're trying to just do a boost on a cut because you think it'll be faster or confuse someone, I think that's not the right move.
No. Especially, yeah, if it's covered, it doesn't make sense. If it creates separation, it makes sense, but um
I've
to
used it selling routes. I've used it on the single post, and then to try to sell them to jump down and then hit a double. And same with selling it on the second post and then hitting the post after the third post after. Doesn't work all the time, but sometimes it does.
Yeah, I can see that. I always love these boost catches that like the two players are on top of one another, and then like one player boosts and it looks like they're still on top of one another, but it's just enough to get the catch.
Yeah, just as it's happening, as the pixel separation happens, it's a catch.
Yeah, it's crazy.
the slow-mo replay of catches always look way cooler than they do, I think, in the moment.
Oh
Because
yeah,
you
like
get to see
Yeah, it
every
legitimizes everything. It's like
tenth of a second.
it literally is all built into the engine, you know.
yeah, like when those tip balls happen when like you mess up the spawn and like you're like, oh my god, how is that a catch? It was or an interception or whatever, and then you slow it down like the friggin'
Yeah,
spawn moves like 3 yards. It's wild.
There are for sure questionable spawns, like for sure. I um I actually feel like this league has been, I don't know if the wide receivers are I don't know what it is, but I feel like this league so far, the spawns have been way more tame than the ones we saw last league.
That could be multifaceted. One, I think Money was fixing stuff like in the beginning part of season 2 relative to spawns. Um, but I think at the same time, players might have also been getting like better at positioning to fuck up spawns. Sorry, children at home. Um, to like mess up spawns less frequently to get more consistent catches. So I think you're seeing less you're seeing more discipline now, I think.
Maybe. I just remember last season multiple games where we were looking back on catches being like, how was that an int? Like, how did the scourge spawn there? Or,
I do remember that now
vice
with Irv.
versa.
Irv had some good clips of head scratchers.
Oh yeah.
But we haven't had that this league yet.
No, it's been mostly tame or like understandable.
Yep.
I've always thought maybe there's a way because like you can change unit sizes or like hitbox sizes in StarCraft. Um, maybe it would be cool if while the Scourge is spawning, you give it the minimum size hitbox possible, and then like a millisecond later, or faster than a millisecond if possible, you let the Scourge's hitbox increase.
It's
So
like
then
regular.
yeah, like regular. So then that way it can't physically move from the spawn point. It might be hard to
Sorry, I'm trying to
yeah, it might be hard
visualize.
to
Me too. Me
envision.
too.
So I think
Pause.
that the reason why the Scourge like the spawn gets messed up and it moves is because the Scourge is like imagine like a 1x1 square. Now your unit is like a 3x3 square. And if that 1x1 square is anywhere in that 3x3 square, it's going to move somewhere outside of that 3x3 square. But maybe if the scourge was instead like, 1 pixel by 1 pixel instead of a square or tile, um, maybe that would mean that the scourge can spawn where it's intended to spawn and not move.
But that would be a
Uh,
lot more blocks.
it would be a lot more blocks.
And I think we want the tips.
Just the tips?
The tips are
Just
tips
the
are what
tip.
makes it
Just tip.
fun.
It does make it juicy.
Age old adage.
Yeah, just a thought experiment for the community. What if spawns were more consistent? It'd probably be less, overall fun. There'd just be way more blocks.
Yeah, fuck the blocks. Blocks are cool after the tip.
Yeah, when you're chasing the scourge
We
around.
like tips. Do we like that? You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, maybe not like the. I mean, it's not usually that random where it spawns. You know what I mean? I feel like it's not random at all, right?
Well, on the 2v2 jump balls, those are always the funnest.
When they can get pushed crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's random whether where the ball tips. Like I don't think that
Is it? I feel like it's.
I don't think that
coded.
the position of the receivers in relation to each other or in relation to the ball, I don't believe they affect the direction the ball tips.
I think this is a point of contention. I think there would be plenty in the community that would disagree with that.
I think you can control where it tips.
I don't think so.
I mean, but
I think
the
it's
game always
it's
pushes
50-50. It goes one way
I
or the
think
other.
Wick once said that it always pushes down and to the right, and if someone is in that position to block it, then it goes to another position.
Yeah, there's ways to manipulate it, but it's within the. But at the end of the day, it's either left or the right side, right? But yes, there's. It all depends on where your units are and how well you're able to manipulate things.
And that's why
Yeah.
you see, certain players, why Wick is jump ball king, because he understands that mechanic of it, of the game, a
And
little better than we all do.
sometimes you think that like a ball is like perfectly blockable, and then like Wick or whoever will position themselves, and like it's just an easy catch for them.
Well, imagine like okay, if two receivers, doesn't matter what unit right now. Just imagine like one is a little bit below and to the left of the other, and they're pretty much on top of the spawn, but they're not completely on top of each other. So we're going to get a tip ball.
It goes down to the right. It should.
So you think it should go to the right? Why is that?
I think the natural mechanics of the game usually push it down to the right.
It also depends on the angle of the throw, CJ. So if the throw was coming from the sideline side, then
That's
no,
true.
then it won't go to the right side. But if it's coming from a top angle, then the chances of it being spawned on the right side is higher.
Okay. Well, I guess what we can agree on is that there's at least a lot of factors that go into where the ball may tip. The trajectory of the throw, the position of the receivers, the mine, the spawn. But
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of
I
variables that go into it for sure.
That's the beauty of the game.
yeah, I think it's pretty messy. Like I know Money said it's like I think he made a statement like it's perfect, it's all skill. I definitely, although I did believe that when I was a kid, I I do think there is an element of luck to it. Even even if it were all coded perfectly out, I don't even think I think there has to be an element of luck because we're not computers and we can't understand it all perfectly.
I think it's less of like it's not really coded. It's like money's not coding anything. It's just like the engine of StarCraft can only do so many options.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's
if
not
it
perfect.
no, yeah, but like you can have like a if you apply like if you apply like statistics to it, it's probably going to be most of the passes from a certain direction when you mess up the spawn are going to be bottom right, or from a different angle it'll be top right, you know. But I think like in general you'll have like a one sigma or two sigma answer that's like
Yeah, but most is a probability. It's not a fact.
hmm,
Or it's not a, you know what I mean?
might be getting into semantics there, but
Okay,
I
yeah,
get what you're
maybe
saying.
fact wasn't the right word, but I'm saying like most is a probability. It's not a 100% skill-based outcome.
Yeah, I think I think it's a blending of both. You can if you have really good skills, you can increase those chances, but there's still chances for it to mess up. And
Yeah,
that
no, and
yeah.
I mean, in no way am I. My intention is not to detract like the skill it takes to jump ball. Obviously, this is something that I'm, you know, literally kind of made my name off of. Um, so
Yeah.
I enjoy doing it. And I'm pretty good at it. A lot of people are pretty good at it now.
They are.
And yeah, I'm just saying that yeah, I don't think it's perfected. Like I don't think that I still think there's an element of chance involved most in not every catch, but most, but in I'm not even gonna say most catches, but some catches.
Yeah, I just remember sitting on Wick's practice map, uh, just trying to see where it would go if we both sat on certain spawn points, and for the most part, they were consistent with how they reacted.
Did you look at
And
the tip mechanics?
yeah, we were doing it with the tips, but that's not without you know strafing units at the same time. We put them at the stationary points just to see where it would pop out based on what I mean, based on our positioning. But of course, in the gameplay, everybody's freaking moving two like 200 times in a centimeter.
Even in the map though, I did the same thing with Wick and we found that it was inconsistent, the
Um,
direction that it would go.
yeah, I'm just gonna wrap up this portion of the tipping. That I would say that um, for a large part, it's still relatively like still skill based. There are like little spawn stuff. If you're able to manipulate things, then that's the part where some luck because spawning is also like dependent on players' locations, right? And you can't control where the offensive player or defensive player is going to be at all times. But like as you observe the situation, how can you best manipulate it with what you have? You know what I mean? But that's all to say. At the end of the day, yes, there's still a portion of luck. To bring us back onto the actual league topic, guys, and this is kind of like half about the league and half about segueing into the stand on business topics that we recently rebranded to. So I just wanted to ask each of you guys, so far, who has underachieved, and if it's related, who do you think is going to be missing the playoffs? Since there's only one team that will miss the playoffs completely.
Oh boy, what a media question.
I'd say dangerous is underachieved in my eyes.
Any elaboration?
I thought with a veteran QB and counterparts like Muton and Prism, thought there would be um, better on both sides of the ball. I
Yeah,
think I think CJ's outperformed everybody's expectations, which is awesome. And I think, yeah, I think everybody's. I have no idea who's gonna miss out on the playoffs. I think there's a lot of teams that could, lose two in a row and be back in and fighting for their lives. I don't think there's a clear favorite for last place.
I have a
yeah.
hot take, I think, on who's underachieved. Prism, because a lot of people thought Dangerous would do a lot better. Why? Young, because the only thing that makes sense to me is that people expected Prism to carry that team. And that hasn't happened.
You know, it,
So
it can go back to the age-old question that me and Wayne talk about probably like once every other podcast. I almost said that with like a Midwest accent. Podcast. Um, is it chemistry or is it skill? Because on that team, there's a good amount of skill. Like I know we lamented about Jeff's skill set earlier on the podcast, but we all know Prism's talented. We know Mutan's talented. Jeff is talented to most degrees. But when you put it all together, it might not quite really be working out for them. So, do you think that's maybe something that we're seeing, CJ, on that team?
okay, I mean no, because chemistry matters for every team. So you could say that about any team. The fact is that people knew that this was going to be a team with Young at quarterback. People knew that this is Young's team. This is Young at captain. And I missed season 1, played with him season 2. There was a lot of talk about it, and now we're seeing him have the opportunity to lead a team season 3. And I think a lot of people might have had, uh, for some reason, different expectations, but I'm not surprised at all. I think if anyone's underachieved, though, it's Prism, because this is exactly what I expected from Young. And Prism hasn't been able to figure out if it's chemistry, get the chemistry in the team going. If it's just by just pure skill, carry the team. Whatever the case, I'd say he's underachieved the most. That would be my choice.
It is interesting. It is interesting that you brought that up because you can see some parallels on some of the teams. So like with like maybe a T1 or a more experienced player kind of helping and coaching up uh the the younger, lower tier players, whatever. So we have Prism and Young. We have Dan, CJ. We have Wayne, Krusty. You can say that there's a mix of every flavor of scenario. Dan is, I think, successfully helping out you and your team. You have
Dan is
Wayne.
great.
Wayne not, he definitely is. We have Wayne not really doing much for Krusty, but doing enough to maybe help him out a little bit, I guess. And then we're just not. I think we're maybe not seeing the reception of Young improving based on what Prism's doing. So I think what you're saying is you're attributing most of that to Prism and not necessarily on Young.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be fair to put it on Young. Do people think Young is underperforming? We've seen is this Young really? I mean, this is Young. So, what did people expect? I'm not sure.
Here's my take, CJ. Here's my take.
Why they would expect something different.
Here's my take. I agree with you in terms of this is who Jeff has been from season 1, 2, and 3. I agree with you. I think from outside looking in, I don't know everything, but I think that Prism has tried to guide and mentor Jeff where Jeff needs the most help. The absorption of Jeff maybe processing it. I think he's able to process it theoretically, but just not be able to apply it. You know what I mean? So I feel like Prism has tried. Jeff is just unable to get there based even with those tips. So I don't. So in that sense, I think Jeff's got Prism for this. It's just Jeff has. So I would agree. At the end of the day, Jeff is underachieving.
You
Prism,
you think he's underachieving?
Jeff for sure. He's underachieving only because even with the advice given to him, he's still not producing the results that we
Well, he
expected.
doesn't play at all. That's why they don't
Yeah,
practice together.
yeah, you're right. But at the same time, Jeff,
I've been saying this,
but okay,
so
but
I
I'll say
mean,
this: Jeff
it's
still
no
comes
surprise
on.
to me.
Jeff still comes on 2 to 3 times a week to play whenever he does. Right? That is more than a few players. Like Finn only comes on for league games.
But
Turkey,
okay, but Finn is not Jeff.
I know, but I'm just saying,
Irvine
like,
is not
I'm
Jeff.
just saying he does get a few reps in prior to league games. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but that's not what Jeff needs to improve. That's not what Jeff needs to do to get better. You
So,
know, different players need to do different things, and a Portis, he's not Portis.
mhm,
Um,
that's another one. Yeah. It's also different because he's Jeff is playing QB. But anyways, my only point here is that Jeff is giving tips that he potentially didn't have season 1 and 2, and now even with the tips given to him by season 2 quarterback MVP, um, he's still not producing. So I would agree he's underachieving in terms of Priz. I think
I
he's
don't think he's underachieving though. I just want to be
oh
clear. I
okay
think Priz
okay
is underachieving.
okay. For Priz part, I think that it's still dependent on the QB play. But yes, I would say that he's not, producing the numbers you would expect from a T1 or producing the impact that you expect from T1. But I feel like he's also, when you're not the QB, you can only control so much. You know what I mean? So I would, at the end of the day, I agree with your take, and I would stand by me saying that Jeff is underachieving just because he's getting tips but not producing results. What about you? What do you think, Smith?
Yeah, I I think I expected Jeff to do better, so that's why I think he's underachieving. Where CJ, I think, expected Jeff to just not be successful in the season at all.
Yeah, it sounds like we all agree Dangerous has the team with the underachieving players, and there's just some disagreement about whether it's Jeff or Prism.
I
I
agree.
think I think Prism has obviously given Jeff good advice, um, but also at the same time, I think Jeff should be creating his identity as a quarterback in this new meta. And I don't know if he's had a chance to fully explore his personal gameplay to expand on it.
Yeah, I feel like he needs to just like forget who he was for a second and just like do like stupid quarterback things. Like just do slants, just do 90s, just do posts, and then like go from there, advance from there. Just like it's like relearning your golf swing or something. You just like gotta stop and just start back at the basics and just see where it evolves from there. But you gotta start with the basics, I think.
That's what
He even
CJ.
said from oh sorry, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. Finish your thought there.
I was just gonna say like from last season, he's like I'll try to do my best Jeff impersonation. He's like, bro, you guys call plays? It's so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And like, I don't know, it doesn't seem that easy right now. Um, so I think you just got to hone in on that.
If you remember in the beginning of this podcast, CJ was telling us he went from a player, like he went from the mindset of forgetting about who he was and his and like the maybe I don't know what exact words you said, CJ, about like pride or whatever, but he shifted to the mindset of growth instead, like learning and growth mentality. that is something that Jeff has not been able to transition to, because that's everything that you're saying, Lem. Like reset yourself as who you are and become a new identity in the new meta, right? And CJ's done it. He went from a wide receiver who had zero experience playing QB, and we saw how, no offense here, CJ, how bad you started out with when you first started, right? Your scrambling was off, your play calling was very limited to like 3 or 4 plays, and now look at you guys. You guys are 3-0. Obviously, credits to Dan, credit to yourself, continuously finding ways to improve. But Jeff, on the other hand, continues to come in, week out, being the same Jeff that we've always seen. He plays
That's
good,
right.
he plays
You
good, and
said
he plays
it,
bad.
and to support my reasoning for choosing Prism, that's exactly right. He's the same Jeff we've always seen, and uh, and yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't want to. Okay, well, I mean, I'll just say like in terms of play calling in a pub game I think we were playing, yeah, after the tourney last night, he has this habit of like calling a play, it doesn't work, and then he's just like, okay, same thing, guys. And it's like, all right, we just run the same thing. I don't. He back when we were kids, he loved doing wide receiver improv and Wraith Patrol in the red zone. I'm sure Lemnos remembers that was our entire offense,
I was there.
and I think keeping it simple like that is where Jeff was able to cook. Because it was just a sneak or probably an icon to Lemnos, or I was open for the Wraith. And and now it's like he's got a bit of ADHD going where it's like one play happens and I feel like the transition between the end result of that play and the beginning of a new one, like there's no in between. It's like the plays blend together and then the mistakes compound.
Yeah. So
That's
would you say that that Young's M kind of gets lowered as he goes on through the games and makes mistakes?
Can you dispel what M is for us all?
mental fortitude, everybody. That is the secret language of M.
Young's mental
No,
Fortitude.
fortitude.
Young's M.
Young's M is self delusion. So
So that means he's very strong because he never knows how bad he's doing.
I mean, I would disagree, but I think this is why Prism and Young are perfect for each other because they both have a self-deluding M. I Prism has been like forever someone who I think there's always been a lot of uh, you know, both like appreciation more so nowadays, but there's always been some hostility between us, and And at least I feel like I'm starting to better understand that most of it from him comes from a uh, a defense mechanism of like against losing. So rather than being able to admit any kind of mistake he made in a loss, it's got to be someone else's fault. Um, so yeah, I think that it's pretty funny to see them play together.
Okay.
Young
I
doesn't do that, but Young, I don't know. Hey, that guy, his mind is just like in the clouds.
He needs to practice more.
come back down to earth, Jeff. If you're listening to this, Jeff, come back to earth. Adapt the CJ mentality. Get some practice in. We'll see you season 4, Jeff. Um,
Yeah,
um,
everything works perfectly when you're running the plays in your mind, but you need to run the reps to see how you react to certain situations.
to conclude the underachievers so far, And if you guys want to chime in as well, go for it. I feel like three of the four T1 players, myself included, Finn and Prism, we stand at 1 and 2, I believe. So that just shows you that the auction draft kind of and the tier restriction has kind of been working. Also, kind of surprising at the same time. Like I tell you, I never expected to be 1 and 2 at this point. Um, Finn probably doesn't expect that. Um, Prism and Jeff, I'll let them speak for themselves. But yeah, I just feel like the T1 players, excluding Dan, because he was obviously 3-0 with Future CJ, I feel like we're underachieving for our teams because you would think that T1 player could make like have a bigger impact.
I don't know
Yeah,
if I totally agree with that. I think that Finn and Wayne have both played pretty good so far for their teams. I think Finn especially, and I think Wayne also. I don't necessarily associate any of the losses of the has-beens or the Krusty Krabs on you two. Um,
That's fair for you to say, CJ. I'm just saying, remember how we're talking about the field goals? I was the one that overrided these field goal decisions, and
okay, well, I'll
and
take it back then.
and
Then
then
yes, it's you. It is you, Wayne.
and then also, and I don't mean this from a stats base, CJ. I know you like the stats. I'm coming more from a results oriented. So like, at the end of the day, we didn't get the win, right? So I take it on us. If we're the T1s, I take it on us. So doesn't matter if maybe we just didn't make enough plays or didn't make an impactful play, whatever the case it might be. I'm just saying we didn't get the wins, and we're 1 and 2, all of us. You know what I mean? So that's why. Um, I'm just saying we're underachieving in that sense.
You've gotta grow that backbone, Krusty. Put your foot down on Wayne. Don't let him tell you what to do with the ball when you know what the right decision is.
He has a weak
Yeah,
M.
he's the captain. Damn it!
He has a weak M. I got the strong M.
Oh my God, the M. But before we get off of this segment, I did want to, because we all, I think, had similar
Yeah.
mindsets about dangerous underachieving. Just to like flip the script, what do they need to do to improve? Does Young just need more reps with his team? Does he need more reps in general? Should Mouton be quarterbacking or something else? What do you guys think?
I just played with Jeff at receiver. I do not think that Mouton should be quarterbacking. Um, I think that Jeff needs practice. He needs to practice with his team. They need to practice together. He needs instant feedback on the things, the habits he has that do not help them win. Because if you give him that instant feedback, it sticks. He's gonna do better, but you can't expect him to just play a pub game here and there with random, blitzers without getting that and not taking it like serious practice. It's just a pub game. And then who cares how well he does? It's not an indication of how he's going to do in a serious competitive setting because
yeah. You should be scheduling scrimmages.
for sure.
I think that's the best way to. And then no one's calling a lot of defenses in pub setting. You know what I mean? You're not going to see many other looks besides C2. Um, scrims you will. So
Oh,
I
for
think those
sure.
captains should be captains that are looking to build on synergy should be looking to book more scrims.
Was there anything else to that, Lem, that we might have missed? You just asked like
No,
what they
no,
could do
just wanted to see
better,
what you guys thought.
right?
I kind of think I just thought that if Young really wants to QB and he's wanted to with his own picked team, I think what everyone's saying is right. Like he's got to play more and more serious scenarios or like serious pubs or scrims or even maybe show matches.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I would say
yeah.
like
I mean, this is his team he drafted.
third time the charm,
That's
right?
another reason. Yeah, that's
Third
another
time the
reason.
charm. He was preaching this all season. If he could draft his team, So to really answer your question, I think you did kind of ask this, Lem. Can they show to show that they are underachievers? I think you said. I think if they could win 2 games to finish off 3 and 4, I won't label them as underachievers because that's honestly where I would put them preseason anyways. 3-4, 4-3. That's the season that you would expect from that team, right? But if they don't hit that, then I would say for sure underachieve for sure.
Is there 6 games or 7 games?
7
7.
and 7.
4 games
Um,
left.
all right. So I asked my stand on business question, guys. You guys feel free to ask your own.
Hmm.
So your stand on business question was who has underachieved?
And who's missing the playoffs? Actually, we didn't answer that, guys. Did we answer who's missing playoffs? But CJ, you might say dangerous, but like who's missing playoffs? I'll go
I didn't
first.
actually.
Okay, while you guys think, let me go first. Um, who's missing the
Let me hear
playoffs?
it. I want to hear it's me, Wayne.
I don't know. You beat us. Um, damn, this is really tough, guys.
Yeah, that's a
It
hard one
is.
to,
It's
that
a
could
it's
go
honestly
anywhere.
a really tough question to answer now with 3-1 and 2 teams.
Damn, yeah.
Or dangerous is 1 and 3, right?
Dangerous is 1-3, I think,
I
Yeah, they're
mean,
1-3.
I think I can win any game
for sure.
if I'm quarterbacking,
This was a
but it
tough.
wasn't my intention to do that this season. I think we have a good chance with Roma as well. But that being said, like all these close games could go not in our favor, and some of them could go in our favor. But I know they're going to be tight games.
Okay, I feel like it's gonna be a tiebreaker. Okay, and I don't know how to tie like so like whoever it comes down to, I feel like it's going to be a tiebreaker between the. Oh man, this is a couple answer though. God damn it! All right, let me try to narrow it down.
Let me
It's
ask you this one. Do you think that guys are going to lose to dangerous?
me, us, like our Krusty Krabs,
Are you going to lose when you
Krusty
play?
Krabs. Are you done with the Krusty Krab team or a different team?
You're
Oh,
the
okay,
Krusty Krabs.
okay. Of course, I don't think we're gonna lose to anyone. I don't think we're gonna lose to you, CJ. I said it many times. But I don't think we're gonna lose to anyone. But like Smith said, that's the mentality that we have, right? If it happens, it happens.
Okay. All
Like
right. So let's just, so heavy hitters. Do you think Lemos? Do you guys think? How do you like your chances against dangerous?
So in general, pretty good, but I do struggle against Young sometimes when with his called defenses. They might just be like kind of my counter. So I think it would be a toss up between us.
Okay, let's give them a 1-1 there. So they're 2-4, and then the other team they play is us. So let's assume that they lose. So they have a 2-6 record. Is that the worst team in the league?
I guess that depends on Lemon and Kite and Lem's Kite and Krusty's team. But yeah, it's a toss up. I feel like it's gonna be decided between the heavy hitters and it's fuck no, it's gonna be decided between the dangerous and the kites team
Has-beens?
and the has-beens,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
because dangerous beat the has-been. So even in that scenario, the has-beens would have to win 2 games.
Yeah, I feel like that's the tiebreaker, but very much it could be our team, it could be Lem's team. It's tough, but anyways, that it's very hard, like you guys already said. So my tiebreaker is has-beens and dangerous. What do you think, Smith and Lem?
If you want to go take this one,
This one's tough.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm thinking.
It's there's also there's actually 4 teams that are
Yeah,
all like
yeah.
yeah. So I think if we can, if my M can continue to improve, I think we're in a good shot of making the playoffs. But if I keep you know losing my M or worsening my M, I don't know the right way to phrase that, but then it's very possible that we can be the ones to do it. And we all know, like, we're all pretty heavy. We're the heavy hitters. Sin is the heaviest of us all. Um, it all depends on how we all play together. But I
What is
think
it?
that
A 5 and 4 and 5 playing?
Yes.
4
4
and
and 5
5
play
playing,
and
yeah.
6 misses. Lem, we need
So
to
I think,
review the tiebreaker scenarios because this may very well come down to 3 or 4 teams down the stretch.
oh my God, I know. What I'm gonna do after the podcast. But yeah, I think it's possible the toss up between, I think, me, the heavy hitters, and dangerous.
What about us? We're the same boy as you guys, 1 and 2.
I know, but I have I have confidence in the Krusty Krabs.
Oh, you know what
Here's
it helps us if it's point differential, Lem? We kicked their ass so bad in week 1, we have a cushion, and we only lost by 3 points in the other 2 games. So we do have a
True.
cushion.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like I have a lot of questions about all four of those teams. Like for Krusty Krabs, are they going to become the biggest letdown of the league and actually just keep losing? Because like the games between Squid and Heavies were close, um, but you guys lost. I just that's a big question. Like, what's going? Who do you guys play next?
We play the has-beens this week,
Okay,
Friday.
so I think that's gonna be an important game for both teams for sure. Has-beens, my biggest question is what is your starting lineup? And um, for who is your quarterback?
That might be
And
our biggest strength, pregame strength right now, is you not knowing who to prepare for.
okay, uh,
Or who
and
do you prepare for somebody specifically, and then just you know assume you're ready for the other two.
yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Because you got to
Yeah,
have
I
a different game
guess
plan if you play against Romo and I, because Romo sneaks and I don't.
that's still my question though. Is like, what is the best lineup for the has-beens? Have we even seen the best lineup for the has-beens? I don't know. So that's my question for them.
Good
And
question.
then for the heavies, it's is this a turning point for them, or was this just the Krusty Krabs, not able to win another game that they they should have been able to win? I think they probably should have been able to win against Squid too, but there just was not enough in the tank there or something, if that makes sense. But so yeah, is this a turning point for the heavies? And then for dangerous, that is Young going to be able to lead this team and make better decisions and improve? Those are my questions. So I think that I guess the hardest one for me to see happening right now is the one for dangerous, but
Hmm.
or maybe the has-beens. So those are because I don't know what their starting lineup is going to be or what their best lineup is. So that's why I guess they fall to the bottom for me right now. But it is hard to say.
Fair. Smith, Lem, I don't think we heard from your answers yet for like just which team is missing playoffs, and if you can't decide who would the tiebreaker go down to.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
I already said
I'm
me
gonna
and
say
dangerous.
us. I'm gonna say us just to light a fire.
Okay. And sorry, Lem,
Because if
who?
we don't get our shit together, we're
Good,
gonna be last.
good. Lem, who did you say again? Just to remind me.
I said it was a toss up between dangerous and heavy hitters.
Okay. All right. All right. We're finished with that stand-up business question. Guys, we're gonna wrap it up soon, but I think we can only end this right if you guys ask your stand-up business question. Spicy or not, let's get at least 1 or 2 more questions in.
We need the spice. The spice must flow.
Do you guys think CJ's been tested?
Damn.
Mm.
A good
Uh,
question.
all right. Lemon, you want to start this one?
I think I'm trying to remember back to the games now. Um,
Yeah, go
we
ahead.
had a
What
ga-
was week one? Week 1 was against.
It was against you guys,
Maybe.
Sven.
Oh yeah.
The
Were
turnover
you
battle.
tested in that game? Do you think you were tested in that game, CJ?
No, I think we could have run up the score a lot more than we did if we kicked field goals, actually.
Yep.
I think that, yeah, we most of the time I was testing myself.
We gave up a lot of jump balls, and we turned you over a lot. And like anytime that we turn you over a lot, I feel like we should win. We should win. That's just period. You know what I mean? But you turned us over a lot too.
Yeah, so I mean, so for overall skill set, um, week 1 is always tough. Trying to figure you had a pretty. I think you guys had a pretty
Oh
easy
yeah,
win.
that wasn't.
So,
That wasn't
but I will say defensively, I think defensively you guys tested us, and because we got a lot of turnovers too.
sure. Yeah, I think it. You probably went after that week. Probably went back to the drawing board a little bit
Oh yeah, we did.
to how to
Definitely.
get out of
I
your zone and not put yourself in that pressure situation.
You guys haven't played that lineup again since then, but I thought that was I thought that was not a bad lineup at all. So
No,
it would be interesting to see you.
I think our team, no matter how you put it, we're not easy to beat. No matter how I think, and that's how Kite drafted, to be
Mhm.
moving pieces. And then what was your week 2 game?
It was
Dangerous.
dangerous.
Dangerous. That was a very interesting game. I think your team was tested on both sides, and I think, man, you played that really well. That game, your last 2 games were played really well.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah,
do I
they
think you were
probably
really
did test
tested?
us the most so far.
Yeah.
I think that their defensive calls could have put more pressure on you to make the right decision. I think you made the right decision, but I don't know if they forced you to between 2 hard decisions.
You're saying he just had a lot of easy opportunities to sneak or something?
I think yeah, on the pressure situations like the fourths, I don't think they ran the right defenses. I think you were very comfortable. I think the last 2 games you were very comfortable on 4th down, which you shouldn't be.
Yeah, so we had a couple scenarios where, like, CJ had to take what was given to him. So maybe,
Brilliantly, yeah, he was very quick on the decision making on those, and he made the right decisions.
and then a team on week 3 winning 30-7 against arguably, top skill team in the league. Um, and I don't know if that was just because of Dan's pressure or defensive calls or what it was. But
When I watched that game again, it was actually really close. Like 10 minutes left into the second half, the score was still 10-7. So
there's a couple, yeah, just blown defenses. Your ability to extend the plays, I don't think that they adjusted to late play. Maybe I don't know if they've adjusted to that since then either, but it seems like something that they should address.
I was tested that game. I was tested that game by their defense. So they definitely tested me. So yeah, I've been tested. Um, the only reason I didn't feel tested against the has-beens was because we were getting so many turnovers on defense, even though you guys got a lot of turnovers on us as well. And it was like the ball. I think when you look at the possession chart of that game, like the ball was in our hands so much of that game that I never felt like we were in danger. Or I mean, I don't think it was a. I don't think it was like I said. I think we could have run up the score a lot more if I had played better.
Yeah, first half was pretty close, but then second half was another story.
we'll have to see if if CJ's been fully tested,
What are your take?
or if
Well, what are your takes on it, Lemon? Wait.
I was if you let me friggin' finish, Smith. I was gonna say I think CJ has been like 75% tested. Um, some of those games were blowouts, and even if they were close at some points, they still ended up being blowouts. Um, so I think we need another game where he needs to come back from behind or something, and or just like go play for play or score for score, and we'll see if the heavy hitters can deliver that this weekend.
Looking forward to it, brother.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
Yeah.
the has-beens have scored the most points against us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're a wild card. I will say that much.
So
You don't really know. You don't really know how to prepare for us, and you don't know what you're gonna get.
so sadly, I think that CJ, have you guys been down by? Have you guys, first of all, have you been down this season, and have you been down by more than 10 points at any point this season? I don't think so, right?
Other than the show match last night, no, I don't
Exactly.
think so.
Exactly. So I don't think in that case, I don't think you've been tested in the league setting. I think the show match you were tested, but in the league setting, I don't think so yet because I think it, I think M really shows itself when you're down by minimum two possessions or 10 points. So yeah, that's my answer. Yeah, you haven't been
Wayne, is
tested.
that fair though? Because no one's ever come back from more than like a 5 point deficit
I think that
in a
that's
league setting.
that one is I'm not sure is if it's fully up to date from season two. That was one of the things that I didn't have the time to fully check out yet, but that is accurate up until whenever it was done. But anyways, so you're right, Lev. But like even in a pub setting, like you could see who bounces back, who doesn't, right? And so I like that show match was the only time I think I've ever seen CJ go down by two possessions in that show
Wayne
match.
just never looks my way. I've come to accept this.
CJ, I think another thing, CJ, is I feel like you need to also play at least the Krusty Krabs for me to better answer this because, um, yeah, like yeah, that's what I'll leave it at that. But
If you tear up the Krusty Krabs, you will
yeah,
have earned
I
his
s-
respect.
yeah, you'll earn my
Oh
respect if
man,
you could beat us by at least double digits. But
I might have to order
You
out
might
some crab that night.
have.
go for it, go for it.
Okay, I got us another spicy question.
All right.
Spice me up.
What's the final score of that show match last night? If Prism was quarterback,
Oh my God.
and it's 20 minutes.
Oh
Oh,
no.
that was a couple days ago. It wasn't actually last night.
We're
Yeah.
all still reliving that.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, by the way, great game, CJ.
Uh,
yeah.
That was
Thank
down
you,
two
thank you.
scores, truly tested.
Can I just say it's I'm gonna say what I said yesterday. I think Money asked the question, and I got kind of upset. I said it was a bullshit question, and I hope he didn't take that personally at all. I didn't take his question
Sure.
personally at all. It was just like the situation and how it was evolving.
Yeah,
Um,
you didn't want to keep harping and talking about it all night, I'm sure.
yeah. So I think when you look at the score lines that everyone chose for this game, whatever scores we choose for this hypothetical will be, just as could be just as off. But yeah, let's hear them. What do you guys think?
Oh, interesting. Man, let's go around. Let's start with the panel. Let's start with Lemnis and Wayne.
Let's go, Lem. You want to go first or me?
I'll go first. I mean, I don't have much to say. I feel like I'm usually bad at kind of analyzing these scenarios, but I do think with Prism at the helm, with 15 or 20-minute halves, I think he would have taken the win. I don't know how convincing it would have been. If it was like multiple scores or one score or whatever, but I think Prism at the helm would come out on top.
I agree. I think if you at any point go if you turn the ball over once on Priz, he'll find a way to capitalize. Therefore, it'll be hard to come back from. Um, so I don't know about how much either, but if you if you're struggling with turnovers, that score is going to run up on you real quick. But anyways, I'll actually give a number. If I were to really hypothetically put a score line on this, I'll say 28-14, unfortunately. But anyway, CJ, you proved me once wrong. I want to see you prove me wrong again when you play us. I want to see you go 7-0, and
Yeah, dude.
prove us, continue to prove us wrong. Good luck.
Aren't don't you lose $100
I
if that
said so.
happens?
I said if you go 7-0, I'll put $100 on in the prize pool. And I said if you beat us by more than 21 points, I'll retire for the rest of the season.
Oh man,
Oh
mark those
shit!
words.
Put the nail in the coffin.
I told Cressy from
If
the
you,
from the start of the season, ain't nobody gonna blow us up in 21. But if you specifically able to do it, CJ, I'll shut myself down. Load managing
poor
myself.
Krusty, poor
Cr-
Krusty.
Krusty's the one that's egging me on. He's asking me. He's putting wagers
It's
on me.
gonna it's
I'll
it's
just
gonna be
trade you.
funny if that happens, Wayne. When that happens, how you respond.
My M
When
is
the
only my M is only as strong as my captain.
it's
Uh,
true.
but anyways, like I said,
Yeah,
CJ, prove me wrong.
if you would have asked me last night, I would have probably said the same score, 30 something to around 10 or under. But after last night's game, I would definitely put it a little closer. I think it would be an 8 point game.
Yeah, like CJ, like you played great, even coming like I think you were down what 13-0, right? And like
Oh,
like like you
yeah.
got like you came back, so I'm not taking anything away from the fact that you came back. I'm not gonna take anything from the fact that you guys got the defensive stops when you needed to, because at the end of the day, defense should be the same, right? But I'm just saying from an offensive standpoint, it would have been different for them, but doesn't take away from what you guys did that night either.
No, no, you got the win.
Yeah, so and that's kind of why I didn't want to have this discussion. Then it didn't really
I agree.
fit the bill or make
It went
sense,
together
but
right away, yeah.
All right.
and
Then you ask us a
I,
question. We could switch off the topic if you got a different question for us, CJ. That
oh,
was
I'll try and see if I do, but I'll just say on this that you know, we won the game.
hmm
We beat TTT, and uh, the offer still stands to have this additional show match, which would be a new show match, a grudge match with Prism at QB in 3 or 4 weeks' time. Probably, I like 3 weeks, like between week 6 and week 7. Prism kind of did what like Kite was doing, or with Curtis or whatever. Like this whole like, oh, it's got to be like right now after we've taken our L, like and it's just ridiculous. But no, I want him to he needs to sit in this loss, and if he wants to rematch us in 3 weeks, we're here for it.
I
Not
like it.
that.
I like your
Yeah, I like the
willingness
comp.
to run it back.
Yeah, I like the confidence. I understand. I honestly think that it's reasonable to like not do it all together. I will I will for fun entertain this proposal as well for you, CJ. 3 weeks after that game, if you guys were to come out on top of TTT with Priz at the QB, if you wish to accept, I would bring on the Wayne's World of season 1 to play you guys as well. But you know, we'll see how like only if you accept if and the conditions met that you guys beat them.
Yeah. Okay.
Whenever that is.
Yeah, we may be getting ahead of ourselves, but
Probably.
because we don't even know if this will happen. But
Yeah.
yeah, if it does, I actually have thought, and I thought this wouldn't happen until season 4, and it would depend on what the Super Bowl team would be. But I had imagined, like, what if there was a super team league with all the Super Bowl teams?
Champions League. Yep.
So underdogs may be getting a head start.
All right. All right. Anyone? Let's finish this off with one final question. So, CJ, hit us up with your final spicy or not question for the day.
Hmm. Do you guys think that my uh Okay, so I currently hold the game record for rushing yards and the season record for receiving yards. Do you guys think those will be either of those or will be broken by the end of the season?
I'll step in. I don't think they will be broken. Um, so you have the rushing you have the rushing lead, and which other lead?
Rushing for a game and receiving for a season.
Oh, you have that from last season.
Yeah.
So his
Yeah,
receiving
so
is 1500-ish, I think, and then his rushing, I think, is something in the 167 yards range.
I don't think either of those will get beat this season. I think teams are going to tighten up towards the stretch, down the stretch. Um, and then I also think, like we talked about earlier this season, overall offensive production I think is down compared to last season. Um, so I don't think we'll see, 1,500 plus yards or whatever again. So I think those are probably in the bag for you.
I wanted to hype up my captain Krusty to sneak on you in week 6, CJ, but then I realize now that Dan is going to blitz him, and there's no shot Krusty's going to sneak on Dan, like able to sneak on Dan. So, yeah, maybe that record holds. Receiving wise, I don't know how the projections are yet because I've been slacking on posting them. But let's just say that it probably won't be broken then.
Yeah, I think this season, I think those records are safe. Uh, but in future seasons, I don't think that wide receiver season total or receiver season total is safe. You might have to
No.
come back. You might have to come back and
Oh, I'll break it.
yeah, have a bigger have a better
I'm,
season because I know, if someone can average 300 yards a game, they're gonna eclipse 2,000. So I think that's
yeah.
doable for a wide receiver QB tandem.
It was difficult I mean, not difficult, but I definitely thought a lot about just having Dan quarterback me this season.
Just so you could
Because
smash your
I'm so
record.
confident. Like I don't know if you, I don't care if you guys believe me or not. I'm so confident that I could get over 2,000 yards.
That is a juicy number to go after for sure.
CJ, 2,000 yards or 1,000 yards, but you go 7-0. And if you get 2,000, you're like 1-6. Which one you taking?
Which would I take?
Yeah,
Oh, but I'm 1-6
one
with
and six.
2,000.
Yeah.
Oh man. It all depends on how the season ends. I mean and like the Super Bowl. Are we the champions? If
No
if
idea.
we're 7-0 and champions, then I take that and 1,000 yards.
Because that's what you're gonna get with Dan at QB. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, all right, let's sign this off. This was a great episode 10. It's good to be back. Hopefully, we'll have something lined up sooner than later for the next guest. Thank you again, CJ, for coming on again so soon, and Smith. Man, Smith, it's been a long time coming for you to be here with us. But glad you made
Man,
it.
dude, shout out CJ for being the fucking talk of the town.
That's right. That's
Oh
right.
yeah, I saw someone said like Ocho is the most talked about, and I think Duxon posted it. Yeah, he shows up 638 times, I get. Oh, or something.
Yep.
But
Something
if
like
you look
that.
up CJ,
Oh
oh,
man.
I'm a close
Post it for us.
second.
Post it for us, CJ.
621.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Ocho's
close.
got me by 17.
Here it is. All right. Well, thank you guys all again. Thank you, Lem, for coming back to do this last minute with us. Yeah. Hope you guys all had fun. Anyways, until the next one, guys. GG's.
Thanks, guys.
GG.